afternoon. It is 3:06 p.m. And I'm calling the Rules and Administration Committee to order. Since we are virtual, Ms. Johnson will take the roll.
Just take yourself.
Okay.
Chair Dietzick.
Present.
Vice Chair Rest.
Present.
Senator Johnson.
Present.
Senator Champion.
Present.
Senator Eichhorn.
Present.
Senator Frentz.
Present.
Senator Limmer.
Here.
Senator Marty.
Present.
Senator Miller.
Here.
Senator Murphy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
So we have a quorum. Thank you, members. Today's agenda is to move late bills. So with the exception of 2404, we are not here to discuss the merits of the legislation, just to deal with the lateness of the bill. We're going to start with House File 2950, which is the pension omnibus bill. Senator Frentz, please let us know why the bill is late and why we should allow work to proceed on this bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members. I'm asking the Rules Committee to grant this bill to proceed late. It is late primarily for two reasons. First of all, negotiations on the policy side. This bill that we're talking about bringing to Rules today is the pension omnibus policy bill, as to be distinguished from the budget bill, which is actually on the floor today. So as we negotiated both those bills out, they not only came out late, but went through committees late, partly due to the committee schedules, for which I understand. The second reason, of course, is that we are. Someone asking a question? Oh, okay. It beeped. The second reason is that we feel that this is a bill worthy of having the rules lifted because of the importance of the pension policy bill. It has several provisions in it that are important to Minnesota working men and women. And with that, I would ask members to consider approving the lateness and allowing it to proceed to the floor tomorrow. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, members.
Thank you, Senator Frentz. Any questions, members? All right, seeing no questions. Senator Frentz, since you're on the committee, will you move that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on House File 2950 and that House File 2950 and that the committee report be adopted? Do pass and that the committee report be adopted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is my motion.
All right, Senator Frentz moves that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on House File 2950 and that House File 2950 do pass and the committee report be adopted. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And with that, the motion passes and the bill and the committee report is adopted. And so that bill will go to the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next bill up is Senate File 1949. This is lawful sports betting. So Senator Klein, please let us know why this is a late bill and why work on this bill should continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. My first trip to the Rules Committee. Appreciate you considering moving 1949 forward this session. This bill made it through several committees early in session, through the Commerce Committee, through the Health and Human Services Committee, through Judiciary. And then in its last policy stop in state and local government, I had asked Chair Murphy to hold off on scheduling it in the anticipation that we could make some sort of arrangement between the tracts and the tribes to garner the support of all of those parties so that once it reached state and local government, it would be in its final form. Unhappily, we were unable to accomplish that by the time it was heard in state and local government, but I do believe we are moving closer every single day. And I think there's a good possibility that an agreement may be reached and that this legislation could be accomplished this session. And so for that reason, it was heard late in state and local government and has now been referred to taxes. And I'm hoping the committee will assist me in moving it forward.
Thank you, Senator Marty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not speaking against moving it forward. I am speaking with the concern that a major biggest expansion in betting in Minnesota history, I would argue, is something that deserves a look at the impact on compulsive gambling and gambling addiction, and that we've been a lot of negotiations between who can be on board and who cannot be on board, but the hearings have been relatively brief in terms of the other impacts. And the idea that that right now you go to a casino or you go to a track or you go to a charitable gambling place and place bets is one thing, but the idea of of being able to do it 24/7 on your phone or a computer, I think that deserves much more intensive consideration. And so I'm willing to let this move forward to tax committee next, but I also believe, finance committee should hear it, but most important of all, I think, is we ought to be taking a look at the social impact of this. I'm not one against sports betting. The idea that people have bet on Final Four, all of that, whether they bet with their friends or strangers or anybody else. I don't have problems with people wanting to gamble. I have problems with bookmakers, people, FanDuel, or corporations that are basically coming in and marketing to you, and they can market to you 24/7. And I know it's not supposed to be under 21-year-olds. Never been sure how they actually enforce that because it hasn't worked in other states. But I have a real concern about this. And so with that, I'm okay to let it proceed, but I also want to raise real strong concerns that last minute passing this huge expansion of gambling without fully vetting the impacts on people we don't know who is. A small percentage of the population, several percent, is vulnerable to gambling addiction, and it's a addiction as powerful as any drug or alcohol addiction can be. So I just urge us to be cautious and make sure we do give a full vetting to those issues before we would move forward with the bill.
Thank you, Senator Marty. And I hear your concerns, and I know Senator Klein, I don't know if you want to respond, but again, we're not here to discuss the merits of the bill, but the lateness of the bill. So Senator Klein, and then I see Senator Rest has her hand up.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I was going to say. I'm glad to respond to those, and I could do so at some length. My understanding, though, is that that's not the purpose of the committee, simply to decide whether we're
Senator Klein, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if Senator Klein's there, so I'm going to go to Senator Rest.
I can hear
Oh.
Senator Klein.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I would like to finish my comment. So yeah, I could respond to those concerns at some length, but I will not do so, understanding that the question before the committee is whether to move this forward as a late bill, not the merits of the bill itself. I will say we were heard in Health and Human Services where these concerns were appropriately raised, and it passed out of that committee in a bipartisan fashion. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. My internet is the one that is unstable. Senator Rest.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to verify that the motion to send it to taxes and take the stigma of the late bill away would make it almost as if it had never come to rules, so that we don't need the latest engrossment until we're actually in taxes. Is that your understanding as well?
My understanding is, though, the motion will be to adopt the committee report, but as part of the committee report, the bill is being referred to taxes. And then I believe Senator Marty has requested in finance after that.
But as I understand it, the engrossment from the latest committee is not ready yet. Do I have that? Do I have that incorrect? But it doesn't
So
need to be. We only need it. We only need it to be moved to take away the stigma of coming to rules, and as long as the latest engrossment is ready before tax committee, we're fine.
So once we adopt the committee report, and then the latest engrossment will be worked on. So we're going to adopt the committee report today, and then it will be moving forward. So, yeah. So that's
okay. Thank you. Okay, my understanding is correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Okay, seeing no other questions. I know Senator Miller, I believe, has supported in the past. So Senator Miller, would you like to move that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on Senate File 1949 and that Senate File 1949 and the committee report be adopted?
I'd be happy to, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Miller. Senator Miller moves that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on Senate File 1949 and that Senate File 1949 and the committee report be adopted. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, and with that, the motion is passed and the bill will be moving. The committee report has been adopted and the bill's next stop will be taxes.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
Thank you. And then the next bill we have up that's a late bill is House File 402, Healthcare Entity Transactions. Senator Wilkland, welcome to the committee, and please let us know why this is a late bill and why we should proceed with this bill.
I can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Senator Wilkland.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me
Now
now?
we can hear you. Yep.
Great, sorry. Yes, so House File 402 was a bill that I was carrying that it went through the appropriate committee and state and local government, and then was referred to the Judiciary Committee. At that point, we were close to the time we were putting together the omnibus bill, the HHS omnibus bill, and we incorporated the language into that. So the provisions that related to judiciary were heard in judiciary, along with some other items from the omnibus bill. And then it was laid over in that committee. Now the desire is, because the House has taken up the companion in a standalone fashion and passed it, we would like to do the same with this bill. And so that is why we had a hearing in judiciary yesterday with a delete everything amendment. And now we would like to have it moved to the Finance Committee so it can continue moving forward.
Thank you, members. Any questions on this bill? And as Senator Wilkland said, the next step is finance. Senator Limmer.
I heard the Senate file number. I don't know if I heard the title of the bill. Which bill is this?
It is House Bill 402, Healthcare Entity Transactions. I think you heard it in judiciary yesterday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, members? Okay, seeing no other questions. Senator Murphy, will you move that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended and that all further proceedings on House Bill 402 and that 402 and that the committee report for House File 402 be adopted?
That's my motion, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you. Senator Murphy moves that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended and for all further proceedings on House Bill 402 and that the committee report for House Bill 402 be adopted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes and the committee report is adopted and the bill will be moving to finance. So then the next bill we have is Senate File 2404. So this is a late bill, but it also was referred to the Rules Committee because it is the Environmental Natural Resource Trust Fund renewal. And so, and that is a constitutional amendment, and constitutional amendment come to the Rules Committee. So Senator Herr, will you please let us know why this is a late bill and why work on the bill should proceed? And then since it's a constitutional amendment, the language falls in our jurisdiction. So if there are questions on that, we can discuss that as well. And we're not necessarily taking testimony, but Niels Paulson from Conservation Minnesota, who is part of a coalition that has worked on this bill, is here to also help answer any questions on the constitutional amendment along with Senator Herr. So Senator Herr.
Thank you, Chair, DZ and members. The reason this is a late bill it's been through the Environmental, Climate, and Legacy Committee and then State and Local Government and Veteran Committee already. And the reason it's a late bill is due to being chair of the Environmental Committee, and there's just a lot of the time is just stretched too thin. So I think this is the right timing for me to at least get everything wrapped up and present this bill to go to finance, but then I have to go through the Rules Committee, your committee first before we get to finance.
Thank you, Senator Herr. And for members, I think the language was attached with the constitutional proposed amendment that's submitted to the people at the 2024 general election. The question that must be submitted as part of the bill is, shall the Minnesota Constitution be amended to protect drinking water sources and the water quality of lakes, rivers, and streams, conserve wildlife habitat and natural areas, improve air quality, and expand access to parks and trails by extending the transfer of proceeds from the state-operated lottery to the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, and to dedicate the proceeds for these purposes. So that's the question that we are putting before the voters. Members, are there any questions on this, the lateness of the bill, or on the constitutional amendment? All right, seeing no questions. Senator, hold on here. Senator Marty, will you move that Joint Rule 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on Senate File 2404, and that the report from the Committee on State and Local Government and Veterans be adopted and amended to read, the bill be amended, and when so amended, the bill do pass and be re-referred to the Committee on Finance?
So moved.
All right. Senator Marty moves that Joint Roll 2.03 be suspended for all further proceedings on Senate File 2404, and that the report from the Committee on State Government and Veterans be adopted and amended to read, the bill be amended, and when so amended, the bill do pass and be re-referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes and the bill is referred to Finance. So thank you, members. I also wanted to give you an update. Thank you, Senator Herr. So earlier this session, we staff had to take 5 hours before they could collect time. So they were basically concerns at 5 hours without pay. And so we got rid of that. And then we bumped up the comp time. So I just wanted to give you a report that it might be 2 weeks old. Secretary Bodden will have a new update shortly. But as of right now, we have 3 to 4 people who have more than 300 hours of comp time. And we have about 50 people who are 200 hours or more comp time. So I just kind of wanted to let people know that. That's just to give you an update so you kind of know where people are. Senator Marty, did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair. Could you remind me what we increased the maximum to? Is it up to 300?
Yep.
Thank you.
And so we now have 3 to 4 people that are over that 300. And we have about 50 people that are over 200, but I don't know where they are in the 200 to 300. Secretary Bodden will have more information and he can share that with us when he gets the most up to date here. And we're just kind of keeping track of that because we wanted to see when we made those changes what that did. And then I also mentioned at an earlier meeting that we were in the past during COVID, we did give staff a communications stipend since they were working remotely. Since we still have a work remote policy, and especially in the interim, and we don't have a communications policy for staff, I am looking at possibly giving them a cell phone or a communication stipend, since if they're working at home, to pay for their internet. And then, but frankly, since COVID, most of us have staff cell phone numbers and a lot of them are using it and lobbyists use it. So it just makes sense. And so I am looking at doing that. And so if anybody has any concerns, I've talked to Senator Johnson about this. If any of you have any concerns about it, if you could let Senator Johnson or I know, that would be helpful. And then I think at some point after session, we'll probably be, or shortly before our session ends, we'll be enacting that. So if you would consider that and give us your input, I would appreciate it. And then we'll have a few other, possibly a few other meetings coming up on a few other bills. There was 1 or 2 other things that we might need to move. And then we'll have another one meeting in June or July after the budget is adjusted to look at staff cost of living increases and stuff like that. So just kind of giving you the update of what may happen in the next month here. So with that, thank you for your help today. And it is 3:25 and the meeting is adjourned.